All right, so everyone, welcome to part two of the India market review for the week ending Friday, 28 July. This one, we're going to be looking at the Nifty 50 stocks, and actually, you're probably going to find that this session is going to be rather crisp and probably short also, simply because, well, I finished the part one of the IMR and then just as I finished, heavy rains here in Bangalore, India. Internet went kaput, so I couldn't start part two. So while I was waiting for for the net to come back, I just decided I'll do my own in-depth review of the Nifty stocks, which I did for the last about 45 minutes, 1 hour, and so I have it all sort of fresh in my head. So I'm not going to go through each and every stock as much as in detail as I used to in the earlier IMRs. I'm just going to skip the ones where there's really no opportunity and maybe just make a few comments on that. But I will spend more time on wherever there is a good opportunity. So with that, let me jump into the list, and we'll start right from the top in alphabetical order. So like I already mentioned in part one, the global indices are pretty iffy. Of course, the US markets have continued to make new life highs, but all the European markets are in a sort of downtrend, and the Nikkei is very much sideways. So I'm not really sure what's driving the US market up. Maybe if Sid has any insights, he's there in the US, he could chip in. Feel free, Sid, if you have anything that you know. Just for the just so that everyone knows, I'm definitely reading far less news than I used to even 6 months back. I'm just sort of how shall I say this, detoxifying my life. Too much negativity around, and just don't want that in my head, and just like trying to find a more balanced path. So it's quite possible in the process that I'm just not aware of many things that I would might have been aware of for a year back, and quite honestly, it's working out quite well for me, including in the markets. Just taking out the clutter and the noise. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying where I am. So I'm just saying that because in case there's anything that you know and you'd like to chip in, please feel free to do that during the session. All right. So the overall view from the Nifty and the global studies and the sector studies is that seem to be at a pretty critical junction, where the uptrend is definitely, it's not under threat on the Nifty chart, but I would say after going through the sector indices, except for the IT index, none of the other indices are supportive of an up move on the in themselves. And therefore, except, okay, one more sector I forgot is the bank Nifty. So the private sector banks exclusively almost, and IT, and that's a pretty good weightage if you really think about it. But everything else is sort of turning sideways at the very least, and some even bearish, I would say. So there's a sort of split in the market, and I think one would have to be a little careful as to how the market might behave as it trends a little higher. Right. So having said that, looking at the individual Nifty stocks to get further insights as to how the Nifty itself would behave, and also how the individual stocks will behave. Right. So um, so this is probably quite different from the IMR we did on the 7th of July, 3 weeks back, where everything was pretty bullish and quite gung ho and upbeat about the market getting to 10,000, the Nifty getting to 10,000, which it did quite a few times this week in the week gone by. But now that it has achieved 10,000, we'll really have to see how it goes ahead from here. All right. Just crop my mind, so in case before I forget, Sid, just a request. I'll talk to you about later. All right. Just remind me offline. All right, so jumping into the stocks, let's look at this. I mean, Bajaj Auto clearly, just going sideways and really nothing to it to say. I mean, 6 months of sideways move. so I'm not going to spend any more time on it. It's not a trending move. Now this is where it's interesting. The next one, Hero Motors, has clearly cracked, right? So Hero Motors is expiry happened yesterday, right? Derivatives expiry in India happened yesterday, and clearly this has just uh, taken the support of the previous life high at around 3,700, and today it's gone down. The only saving grace is that it's not gone down on high volumes, but I think you're going to see more and more stocks like this which are sort of tentative, and I would expect that I think this would if it breaks 3,585, then at least 3,400 is a stock that this could definitely reach. uh, Looks like further downsides are quite likely in my opinion. All right, so this is something that one could think about actually shorting with a stop loss around 3725, first target at 3575, which is not great of course, but if it goes to 3435, then that's definitely something worth thinking about. Or even if it comes back with a some up move sometime next week, that might around 37 might be a good shot. Maruti is at a very sort of precarious, not precarious, but okay, I should withdraw that word, at a pretty interesting juncture. Yeah, that's a better thing to say, because on the weekly chart, as you see it right now, really nothing to state except that there are this hanging man that happened 3 weeks back, and then small candles are now appearing, and that definitely sometimes can indicate a weakness in the trend, in the uptrend of course here. And if you look at the daily chart, there's definitely a clear bearish divergence which has set in, right? So there's a very clear bearish divergence in the uh, daily chart, which is not there in the weekly chart, right? So that's interesting. Now 7,600, 7,650 or something, is this a stock that might turn down, is something that you have to consider. I would definitely not be going long on it, and at some point I think it's probably going to turn down. The volumes are also sort of diminishing as the price goes up, right? So that's something else to keep in mind, right? So divergence in a sense on the volume also, and this big sell-off that happened yesterday, not sure on what account, but not looking healthy on the upside. I would definitely keep this on the list of potential shorting opportunities as it goes higher, right? Maybe it'll go to 7,800, just a round off figure, and it'll short. M&M, so that's been toying around with its long-term moving averages. Again, a stock which is like sideways, as you can see, since 3 years, 15, 16, 17. So really, no comment on it. I'm not sure what the state is. The two ways that something like this can play out: 3 years of consolidation essentially, and then it goes sideways. So if I make this a weekly chart, it's clearer. Sorry, not sideways, it breaks out or breaks down. Now even if it did that, then between 1,400 and 1,000, say 150, about a 250 point move either up or down is something to keep in mind. So this is a weekly chart, and on a monthly chart also, really nothing more to say. Very rarely that we look at monthly charts, but at this point really nothing to report as far as the M&M is concerned. Now one thing is, on this monthly chart, the indicators below, usually I don't look at them on a short-term basis, but this one is definitely interesting, is the volume indicators, the price volume trend and the on-balance volume. And the OBV is clearly trending down, more selling than buying that's been going on, and that's been going on for about 2016. Not too much of a value, but in terms of decision making, but something that you just may want to keep in mind. So till the stock decides what it wants to do, there's really nothing to say about it. Um, Technically, at least, there is nothing more to say. Tata Motors has turned down, has been trending down, right? So we've got what it's double top at 600, something I'd mentioned about I think 2-3 months back. Hasn't been able to break that double top at all. What's only supporting this stock right now is the support at around 430, and then we'll have to see how it really behaves around that. So 430 rupees, it whether it breaks down or not, we'll have to really see, and then take it from there. So uh, yeah, so this is at 430. So we'll just wait and watch and see how this pans out. Okay. All right. So if the 430 breaks, then I think further downsides are definitely possible. One hint is already there in the yesterday's sell-off. You can see the higher volumes yesterday, very poor volumes today. If it goes back to around 450, then I think definitely a short. And if it goes below 430, it's also a short. So depending on your risk appetite, you should, and your ability to track the markets, you should take a call on what you want to do. Eicher Motors, well, that is one thing which is definitely showing some strength. A triple top of sorts, but if you look at the volumes, they are definitely bullish. It could break out of 29,300, and if it does that, it's 30,000 is of course a given. Not that that really matters. 29,000 to 30,000 is what, about a 2% move, but looking good and quite interesting in the sense that, well, this is the only bullish stock, at least in the pack that we've seen so far, which is clearly bullish on all parameters. But well, that's an exception right now, and you also have a sort of shooting star there. You also have an evening star there at the previous top at, so around 30,000. It might face a lot of resistance. So anybody who is like okay with watching it intraday or tracking it, should put an alert at 30,000 and see how it's behaving around that. So given the overall weakness we've seen so far, it might just go there and then be pushed back down. So wouldn't be buying it, but might look at an opportunity to short it. uh, Bosch, so that's again in a what, a 3-year sideways move, as you can see. Quite right, that's so consolidation. So M&M, like M&M consolidating, Bosch consolidating, right, until it decides. So right now there is no decision on the stock and what it wants to do. So we'll just leave it and wait till it decides one way or the other. Clearly nothing in the indicators to hint at what might happen. So I think it's just a question of waiting and watching. So really nothing more to say on that. Uh, Moving on beyond the auto space. So clearly the auto space, apart from potential, maybe a very tentative maybe bullishness in iShare, everything else I think is quite clearly, uh, at the very least, not bullish and possibly bearish. Coming to the cement pack now. So if you look at ACC, at an important junction of sorry at juncture 1800, whether it can break out of that or not will be interesting to watch, right? So it is at 1800 now. This could almost be a flag, right? Except this red volume, I mean, that's for the last week. I've moved to weekly. This could almost be a flag that is happening there. It'd be really critical to watch as to what happened. I think the monsoons generally have been pretty okay. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, not watching the news much at all. Uh, and at least in Bangalore, the rains have been really poor. But in the Sakleshpur, Malnad area of Karnataka, the rains have been pretty good. But of course, that doesn't say much for the overall monsoon across the country. But if uh, if I'm right, then I think more or less it's okay. Now, why I'm bringing that up is, of course, not a technical point here, but the fact that if the monsoons are okay, the rural economy tends to be pretty okay, and at least rural construction and things like that will happen in the months ahead. So whether the markets are bracing for that, not sure. Too early to say. And again, 2015, 2016, 2017, all consolidation. So like the autos, this pack is also very nicely consolidating. Actually, now when I look at it on the weekly chart, looks like it wants to break out actually, right? So yeah, you look at the volumes, you look at all the other things, looks like a breakout is either happening or impending. 1750, 1800 is what it has to basically break out of. This is the weekly chart. And well, there is definitely that bullish zone in this. I would not short it, that is for sure. Okay, there's a lot of uh, buying volume, definitely. The OBV, PVT, etc. is also quite bullish here. And yeah, I was sticking my neck out on this and say, can go long on this. It's likely to at least hit 2000, in my opinion. Could actually do something on this, maybe even tomorrow. If you take this as a flag, and just to be a little conservative, about 1600 to 1750, 150 rupees, 150 rupees from where it is right now will take it to about 1900 and probably to 2000. So stop loss, tough one, because a lot of moving averages, short term ones there. But if you really need the strict one, stop loss is around 1694 on the spot, right? So adjust that for anything else that you might be doing in the derivative side. Um, so yeah, it could just happen. Please note, have a result calendar in front of you. Results are coming out thick and fast for various companies. I'm not sure if this one is out yet or not. Ambuja Cement, more or less the similar picture, except that ACC looks actually quite better. So I'll just leave it at that. We can choose ACC instead of Ambuja. Grasim, now I'm not sure what happened here. Right? If anybody knows, please inform, update, or look up or whatever. Something definitely happened. While I was doing this, I was wondering if there was some data issue. It's not. So this is 18th July, and then the next day, 19th, big gap down 1,300 to 1,070. If anybody can take a moment while I'm doing this to just Google up and check. I'm wondering whether some results or some announcement, can't be unlikely to be a corporate action, right? That has just made the market crack. I mean, that's a 300 rupee crack. It's like what, 25%? 1,300, 2,260. Yeah, about 20-22% crack overnight. So what's going on? And taking support on the 200-day moving average right now. I'm not sure that's the end of the fall, so I'm just going to reserve comment. And also, it basically took support on the previous lifetime high, the green line, which I'm going to now make blue. That's usually my preferred color, just what I prefer to do. Please have your color coding as you like. So if this breaks and there's this big gap, so there are two ways on this, right? If this could actually recover and there's a whole gap and it's basically a 20%, 25% up move, if you think about it, from 1070 to 1300 almost, that's a good 20% up move that could happen, which is substantial, of course. Let it take a month or 2 months, that will be fine. But on the other hand, if it breaks down, then it could go much lower. 1000 psychological mark, that's also something to just keep in mind. I'm just going to keep it there for future reference, nothing else. uh, right. All right, so a little iffy. Is this a big gap down downtrend flag that we are seeing, in which case it falls another 300 rupees, in which case we are talking about almost 900 bucks on the stock, which is something you can't rule out, right? So could it go to 900? Is it going to go to 1000? Or is it going to take support of the 200-day moving averages as it is right now? And then it's going to go back up. A really tough call. Uh, well, there you have it. This is the weekly chart. 2008 high is at 765. So I don't know, something to, there's really nothing. This is the weekly chart. Big selling last week. Let me make this go higher. Right. So as you can see, it may not be the end of the fall. So anybody who's aggressive on this, I mean, it's both a great long or short opportunity depending on which way it decides to go. So right now it is clearly, making up its mind. uh, I'm not so sure, so but it'd be worth tracking it. Maybe at least in the mentorship program we should have a look at it on a regular basis and track it and see. At least it'll be a good thing to track, watch, and learn at the very least, and possibly trade for those who have the uh, ability to do that in terms of time and, of course, funds. All right, so Ultratech. So this is done clearly, going down. It had broken out of its old life high at around 4,000. It was a bullish stock, went to 4,500, got clearly stopped out at 4,500, and now it seems to be, going down. You can also see that the volumes are pretty high as it's going down, and probably 3,900 is a very, 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 very clear possibility, and therefore any move to maybe 4,125 or something, if such a move happens, should be used to short the stock, in my opinion. I think 413 sorry 3,900 is more or less a given. It's not really going to, what do I say? I think takes there's no support that that is there on the chart, which I feel is going to be strong enough for it to stop this down move. So that, and if it of course breaks 39, then lower. So across the board you can see, except for ACC and maybe Ambuja, the other ones are clearly, going down. Grasim, Ultratech, and sorry, yeah. So mixed bag happens sometimes in the sector, and one has to therefore also wonder when you're doing some sector reviews like this, whether ACC will actually crack down now instead of going down. If there's a sector issue at play, and by doing the analysis we did so far, there's nothing that we can make out. Sort of even split 50-50. Some could be bullish, some would be, could be bearish. So on an individual basis, I retain my bullish view on ACC, but after looking through this entire thing, I'm, just a little not that bullish on ACC. On the others, Ultratech and Grasim. Grasim is iffy. Ultratech is possibly a short, right? Okay. Now coming to the FMCG space, so that's been cracking. We've had a bearish divergence on the FMCG, in the MACD, in the RSI, and actually this was one trade where I lost money last month, expecting it to move down. Finally closed the trade, and then finally today it does something, and all that. So looks like, I think maybe I'll reinitiate a short on this. Just a disclaimer. Have no positions on it right now. Thank you, Sid. All right, Sid's posted some news that there's a corporate action, a scheme of arrangement. All right, so we need to review that. So probably some demerger of some sorts is probably what's happening in Grasim, right? And that's what has made this really come down. Um, is there some? All right, so spin-off of the financial arm of Grasim into a separate company. All right, so this is clearly, uh, not a bearish sell-off. Okay, if you, by the way, so if this is the case, then this is perhaps an opportunity for long-term spot investors, wherein, okay, it's too late right now. Actually, I was just thinking, you buy the stock, and depending on the date of the scheme, it's just a scheme. The X date I don't think has been announced. You would get the shares of the baby company also, and these demergers tend to be wealth accretive and wealth positive in the longer term. So not from a derivative thing, but definitely from a long-term spot thing. This is something to think about. All right. Thank you, Sid. So Sid is posting some more information. So I'm reading that out. As per scheme of arrangement, Grasim Industries will issue 3 shares for every 10 shares of Aditya Birla Nuvo held by investors. Investors in Grasim will get 7 shares of Aditya Birla Financial Services for every 1 equity share they own. Okay, so there's a new company. Basically, all right, so this is a little complicated. So there's a company that's going to be called Aditya Birla Financial Services that is going to be created. And what I understand is for every, okay, hold on. Okay, we seem to have some confusion. 5 shares of Grasim or 10. Okay, so okay, hold on. Let's just move on. Essentially, Aditya Birla Nuvo, an existing company, is going to be merged with Grasim Industries, and after that, you're going to get a new company called Aditya Birla Financial Services, or for which the shareholders of Grasim and Aditya Birla Nuvo will receive shares of Aditya Birla Financial Services. So this is work in progress, right? So we can discuss this separately. But Mahadeshwara says July 20th was the record date, so that was over. So X date, right? So 19th it went X. Okay, X date was 19th. All right, so that's what's happened. Essentially, if there was any opportunity to get the stocks, it's over. But there will be a new company that will be formed. Aditya Birla Financial Service will get listed in a few weeks, I would assume, and everybody is going to get shares from that. All the present owners of Aditya Birla Nuvo and of um, Grasim will get shares of this new company. All right. So actually, strictly speaking, there are two ways to now look at this in from a technical perspective, right? So all that discussion, technically bearish, bullish, all gone. This chart should ideally be adjusted, and 300 rupees removed from the prices historically. Now the whole problem with that is something like this, that there was a time when the stock was 20 rupees or even 60 rupees or 100 rupees. Now you remove 300 rupees from that, it becomes a negative price, which obviously doesn't make sense at all. So I'm just going to leave it, and a TA becomes a little difficult or challenging, because obviously this is not uh, uh, a pure technical issue. There's a fundamental issue involved. Having said that, watch for this. As I said, value accretive. Now you can bring that back in. Value unlocking that happens, and this stock could probably go back to 1,300. So I have to reinstitute my overall bullish view on the, I think, cement space, and I would expect that this would actually go up rather than come down, just simply on value unlocking. But that going up could take, let's even take 3 months. Really doesn't matter. Like I said, you're talking about a 20-25% up move. All right. So in the meantime, let me make a note of this, and I should put it on my chart. Scheme of arrangement. Mm, Spin-off of Aditya Birla Financial Services and merger of AB Nuvo. Right. So AB Nuvo was always basically a financial holding company, right? So 1 second, what happened there? Okay. X date 19th July 2017. All right, great. Thank you. So I'm going to, where did it go? Right, post it here, and disappeared. Why did it go there? Right. I just leave it there for future reference. Okay. So I would think that this would actually, I would now think that this would probably, go up. So one could take the following trade, therefore. It will take time to pan out, in my opinion, but go long with a stop loss below the low of this candle, the low of 1012, or you could put a low below, say 1000, say about 995, and just hold on to it. But probably better off in the spot and just hold on to it patiently, and then at some point, couple of at least a few, I'm saying at least a few weeks, maybe a few months later, it'll probably recover back to 1300, right? Okay. All right. So let's move on this. So Ultratech is trending down, like I said. Yeah, we're doing FMCG. All right, so we're discussing Hindustan Unilever, and so it looks like there's a tweezer stop in HUL at 1200. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. It's not exactly 1200. The high is 1195 there, and the high here is 1192.45. More or less okay. It's about 2 rupees 50 paisa, but a tweezer stop almost. And this bearish divergence is perhaps now playing out. It would easily probably go to 1100. That's where approximately the 50-day moving average is, and if it comes back to test its old life high, so we are coming back all the way to 980 rupees, right? So that's a shot worth looking at, 980 rupees. But again, right, so not but again, sorry. So if you look at this, the stock has basically been uh, consolidating for 2015, 2016, broke out in 2017, broke out from that 2-year consolidation, has gone up on good volumes, but has not really seen any meaningful correction at this point. So also, at least at this point, the old lifetime high of 970 and the 200-day moving average of 971 are more or less exactly in the same place. So give it maybe a month, 2 months. Don't be surprised if this comes back down towards 1000. So this would be a short call at this point. 1205 on the spot being definitely hard stop loss for a short, and first target 1100, then 1050, and then all the way to 970, right? Okay. ITC, so that cracked after the announcement by the government of increasing the taxes after it had inadvertently, I think, been reduced during the GST transition. And same thing. So sitting there with a gap, not exactly sure whether this gap is going to get closed or we're going to see a further crack, especially if the overall market cracks. But 200-day moving average 278. Again, iffy. We'll just wait and watch and see which way it decides to go, and then take a call. No hurry about it. Coming to the petroleum pack, so we have Indian Oil. Indian Oil Corporation. So that's been 460. It's come to about 367, and there was again a divergence, bearish divergence there on Indian Oil. It's come to what about a 1-year support, really iffy in terms of whether that support is going to hold or not. In terms of uh, on the indicators, now here's the thing. In a sense, the MACD has gone to mega oversold. All right, it has gone to mega oversold, which it has not done for about almost 2013, and also first time they're getting such a big negative signal on IOC, and if the 200-day moving average breaks, then I think a breakdown of at least another 60 rupees is easily possible, almost 20%, right? On the other hand, does it take support there? Today there's a doji there, there you see it, right, on the 200-day moving average. It's I think just we'll have to just wait for some more time to know which way this could go. Having said that, there is definitely a bullish divergence which is there on the chart. So that's the return line for the downtrend, right? And if I look at the MACD, so that's clearly trending up, right? So no confusion with colors, so we'll just do that. And the same thing with RSI, that's also, at least it's bottomed out. So price hasn't bottomed out, but the indicators have, and so very iffy situation. One could look at it both ways. You could go long on this with a very strict stop loss at around say 363, and then who knows, it'll go up about 10-15 rupees, again get beaten down. So see what happened here, right? Went up, got beaten down, and then it's come down. So this may happen a little bit more, and then suddenly it might shoot up. Now, while I magnified this, interesting to see this on the chart, right? So if anybody recognizes this pattern, right, I hope you do. This is a falling wedge. So now this becomes a bullish, if this is a falling wedge here, quite possible that once it breaks out, you'll see a sudden sharp up move on IOC. It could be something like this. Watch here what happened. So it went down slowly, and then from 370 to 390 almost, 2 days of pause, and then all the way up to 430. So in about 2 weeks, it went from 370 to 440. That's huge, right? So something like this, is that on in the works? Is that cooking? Can't rule it out at all. So we definitely look and watch. This is definitely an interesting thing to track, and probably a good trade with a very good stop loss for a long at least, right? All right, so that's IOC. BPCL, so that's been quite bullish. So that's another thing to go long on IOC. BPCL going sideways since 2017, basically at its life high, good volumes on the way up. So this could, I think, just waiting to break 500. Once it breaks 500, then sort of consolidation between 400 and 500. So if you look at it from the measuring implication, 500 to 600 is a natural, is a measuring implication from a Doe theory perspective. Volumes are supportive, indicators are supportive. Well, so I would say both BPCL and IPCL potential longs. ONGC, I'm going to refrain from this because it's been trending down 210 to 160. Not sure if this is a uptrend flag, sorry, a downtrend flag or something more significant. So we'll have to just wait and watch. It could break down, in which case almost from 190 to 160, 30 rupees. So 160 minus 30, 130 rupees, 130. Is that possible? Yeah, why not? Right? It could be something that happens. Let that pattern decide what it wants to do, and then we can take a call on that. Gas Authority of India, GAIL. So that's like a triple top, as you can see, right? One in 2010 mid, you have another one in 2014 mid, and now we have it in 2017. So this is massive, right? So triple top. Now it broke out of its old life high, went up, all that's great, but just not been able to sustain the up move from here. Now, is this a small correction and then it is, going to turn back up? Little iffy in terms of, if you look at the charts, I think it's sort of stuck because of the 50 and 100-day moving averages. This could go either way. Now, from a longer term perspective, there are two things. One, it could come back to 360, but from a longer term perspective, I think since the sort of double top at least has been broken, a triple top has been broken actually. Is the third top there, and then a correction. In the longer term, it might be setting itself for going up. So essentially, for last 7 years, the stock has gone nowhere, right? So could be something that is really now setting itself up for a big move, and a big move I think easily could mean that from where it is right now, it could double or something like that. Uh, Volume indicators, okay, nothing great about it, but that's something to think about. All right, so from I think more spot thing, this is something that you could look at from a um, um, just buy and hold perspective. NTPC, no comment. Power grid. So the thing with about power grid is that it's got a massive bearish divergence on the weekly chart, right? So it's got a it's not yet broken down. The uptrend is definitely not over. As a matter of fact, all the way from July last, so almost 1 year, this uptrend has been very, very much, I think, intact. And that's the daily chart, sorry, the weekly chart that you are seeing. And now the candles are becoming a little, I would say, smaller. Not really sure what is going to happen next, but there is the doji, sort of spinning top type candles happening at around that 210 220 mark. So on the other hand, volumes are pretty good and supportive of certain of more up moves. On the daily chart, you're seeing rounding top type pattern, and if it breaks this level at around 213, this could easily come down, I think, at least to 206 and perhaps even to 200. Now this old green line that I've put there, or rather many green lines, probably uh, not too much value. This one at least I would remove, but this one is like from the 2008 high, and that is something that it could look at testing at some point if it wants to do that. Let me just make it green again. All right. So from 200 to say 165, 170 could be, looks will it? But you look at the volumes, it's all in sell mode. Looks like that to me. So power grid looking like a sell. Yeah. All right. So IOC, BPCL, potential buys. ONGC, no comment. GAIL could be a buy. NTPC, no comment. Power Grid could be a sell. And Tata Power, well, is stuck there at 82 rupees and no sign of what it may or may not do. Looking at the weekly chart, if I turn this down, so we have this, and then we have that, right? So clearly the uh, uptrend or that downtrend which was there has been broken. The question is whether this up move from here, from around 55, is something that is going to sustain or not. Little iffy. I would just prefer not to have any views on this. Stuck between 80 and 82. One of the sides it has to decide, then we can take a call. Reliance, of course, is where made good returns this month. It's a stock that's been bullish on for about 4 or 5 months right now. I reiterate that bullishness on this, especially for anybody looking to hold on to this longer term. And after an 8-year consolidation, it moved out of 1-1. If you look at the IMR, about I think 4 months back, it was at almost rock bottom valuations that it has had for the last about I think 15 years. And it got managed to get the PE data for it from a Bloomberg terminal. We discussed it in detail and strongly recommended a buy. So I'm not sure how many of us did it, but I hope some of you did at least. And fantastic volumes on breakout, right? So that happened, and the move continues. You actually zoom in, you see how good the volumes have been, right? So you can see that the entire 2017, very little selling. Now the thing is that it's come to almost its life high of 2008. Some amount of profit booking is happening, but you're basically getting a double top here from 8 years back. All right, so that's where it is. 2008 beginning, we are now at 2017, so 9 years later we are back to that level. Is definitely a significant achievement. Anyone having lots of patience, as in many months of patience, I would definitely say buy the stock and hold on to it, at least in your demat account, right? On the derivative side, right, looks like some correction could happen, maybe 1550, maybe even 1500, and at that time might want to look at picking it up on the long side. Would definitely not recommend shorting this at all for the next many months. Right. Next, HDFC Bank. So this is something which is so coming to the private sector banks, just amazing move, hit a new life high, excellent volumes. Just hold on to the stock. Don't even think of selling it. It does these things, which can drive any technical analyst crazy. This mega shooting star, you had this big, hanging man. Of course, neither of them got confirmed. There was no confirmation pattern after that. And then last week and this week, just makes new life highs, keeps going up. Stock that should never be shorted, I think, and just hold on to it. If you have it, hold on. If you don't have it, could even think about buying it. 2000, I think, when it goes there, we'll review. So while HDFC Bank goes from strength to strength, ICICI Bank is just cracking. Again, bearish divergence is there in ICICI Bank. The fall continues. It's back to 290, may go to 280. But in the longer term, this there is potentially an uptrend which is developing. Right? If you see on the longer term, this uptrend is there. So any downside at this point looks, I would say, limited. Nothing very um, um, in terms of a major downtrend. No, it's probably a minor correction that could happen at that time. Could think about picking up this again, right? Then moving on, Kotak Bank. So that's another one which has come back to its life high. Had recommended this. I remember quite strongly a few months back at I think 800 or 750. I'm not sure. Check the IMRs, please. And said 1,000 rupees also, which it has achieved. Even if you bought this beginning of the year at around 730 and it's now at 1,000 rupees, you made almost a 30% gain, which is in 6 months, which is really nice, right? That's the weekly chart you're looking at. So weekly chart showing some amount of tiredness now, but the volumes are really good. And on the daily chart, it just made a new life high, as you can see. Of course, that means on a weekly chart also. But there's some, what would I say, hesitation to it. So 1,000, very iffy thing. All I can say is don't short it. Maybe if one wants to do a trade on this, wait for a correction. Inevitably, it will happen. Basically, from Jan of this year, it's just been a one-way up. This is a minor correction. I'm saying wait for a secondary correction, something like this. Went from 830 to 700 and then move up. So something like that. Maybe it comes back to 100-day or 200-day moving average is something to keep in mind, right? So nothing, not aggressive. Well, it could go up, who knows, 10% before it comes down 20%. That's just the nature of the markets, but would be cautious if I was going long at this point. IndusInd Bank made another life high. Okay, so these have been on our radar for a long time. Except that again we have a bearish divergence in this. On the other hand, excellent volumes on the way up. So 1650, this stock is perhaps looking to do 2000, who knows, right? So we'll have to wait and watch as to what this happens. So maybe 2000 is on the cards, and um, volumes are all good. On the weekly chart, indicators are all good, so no shorting this at all. One should think about buying it. So maybe that's the correction. Tough to tell, but in a strong uptrend, you'll keep getting minor divergences. It will look minor in retrospect, and it keeps going up. So you could buy this, hold on to it for 2000, and then we'll review. So Axis Bank is a surprise. I mean, it's, unlike the other private sector banks, it's first of all been consolidating for the last about 6 months. So this is like, in a sense, like the ICICI Bank, that's also been stuck. So double top on Axis Bank at around 650. Good consolidation for the last 6 months, right? This is the weekly chart now, and you can see on the weekly chart seems like a triangle which is going on. Overall, I would be biased towards this moving up, but that's my opinion. That's because rest of the private sector banks are bullish, but it did a breakout 3-4 days, no, sorry, 2 weeks back. Excellent volumes, not one last week. Excellent volumes, but then it's again come back down. What's not so good is that it's come back down on these higher volumes. So that's something, a bit of a concern. We'll have to wait and watch. It could very well take support at around 500. So watch for that. It's at 514 now. 500, 505, and then just turn back up. So this would be a sort of breakout, temporary, comes back down and then shoots back up, right? So that's Axis Bank. Yes Bank made a massive new life high. I don't know if results came out something in the last 2-3 days or whatever, but clearly this is going towards 2000. So the private sector banks, clearly something to keep an eye out for in terms of further up moves that are just going to, I think, keep happening, right? Yeah, so Yes Bank really, the way the chart is looking of Yes Bank, I'm wondering this is like another HDFC bank in the making. It's of course already a large cap bank, but still could be going to much greater levels in the years ahead, right? So a lot of consolidation that happened for June, broke out of that 1450 1500 level, and after that we made 350 rupees in what, in a month. That's amazing. That's about 15%. State Bank of India and the rest of the public sector banks, just less said the better. If you look at the PSU bank index, is really going nowhere. The action is all in the private sector banks, so I'm going to just completely skip this. HDFC, coming to housing finance and NBFCs and all, so that made a massive new life high after consolidating for the whole of June, July. See this, right? All the way, tested your patience, tested your patience for good 2 months, and then has gone from 1650 to 1785, just in a glimpse like that. Excellent volumes. Again, wondering whether it is result based, but this is another stock which is heading towards 2000. If it corrects to 1650, think about buying it, and 2000, and probably hold on to it on the demat side at least. India Bulls Housing Finance, you know, 1175 double top, and well, we'll have to wait and watch, but looking like it'll probably break out, in my opinion. Then 1250, 1500 on India Bulls is quite possible. All right, so coming to the IT space. So this is really interesting. Now you look at this. Okay, I'm just going to do this to show the contrasting behaviors. TCS down yesterday, today taken support on the long-term moving averages. Look at and on very low volumes today, very good volumes yesterday, down. Infi, the opposite. It really spiked up today, almost like a bullish engulfing candle, which is there. And that 960, 970 mark is a really pivot point for it. And again, these, sorry. These are my relative stocks charts. All right. So all these IT stocks, etc., have been doing consolidation since 2015. I'll take you back to TCS consolidation since 2015. Right there. Don't know when it'll break out. So Infi, sort of consolidation since 2015. Wipro consolidation since even before, and now seems to be really gathering some impressive uptrend which is going on, which is really not seen in the other IT stocks. So something special, in quotes, special perhaps cooking in Wipro. There was this buyback announcement which was quite aggressive, about I think 15% higher than the prevailing market price. So it's gone there and seems to have formed a flag, right? So if you look at it, I would at least take it from 270 to 300. 290, 20 rupees flag formation going on. Another 20 rupees makes it go to from 290, it goes to 310. But before going to 310, 300 could be a pause for some time. So Wipro looking, quite bullish and, all set to go higher. Uh, the others still probably, not probably, have not yet broken out of their zones is 300 mark. Right, let me use the other thing. Right, 300. I'm just going to keep a horizontal line and use that for future reference. So I think once it breaks 300, which will take some time, right, it easily going back to 340, and then after that perhaps higher. So in spite of the tough situation on the IT side, which all the managements are talking about, most of these stocks have, I mean, at the very least, they have not fallen, which itself is a great surprise. Going back to Infi, going to weekly chart, if you look at the weekly chart and look at how the indicators are panning out, how the volumes are panning out, looks like they're all set to actually move higher, right? So TCS also, Infi also, Wipro also, right? And if we look at HCL Tech, that 900 results came out yesterday. I beat the estimates, went up, but got sold off at the end of the day. Not sure what happened today. This massive, maybe I don't know whether opening freak trade or something like that, went massively down back to 910. I think it's just a matter of time that it breaks 900, 920, and then you'll see it at 960, right? So HCL Tech Mahindra is the only sort of surprise, negative surprise. This is really trending down. I have no clue why. So I mean, in the sense of, I don't know if any fundamental or company news why it might be trending down, but there it is. So this is one stock that you don't want to be holding on to, number one, and definitely no shorting, because it could just go in line with the overall market suddenly. There is a, well, temporary, for now, looks like a tweezers bottom has formed. Let's put the line, and one could even all right. All right. So whether that will break or not, tough to say, right? But it's a good stop loss, right? You see any tweezers top or tweezers bottom, there's a good stop loss. There's a bullish divergence which also got corrected. So that's definitely a good sign. So Tech Mahindra, maybe the bottom is in place now. Maybe an aggressive trader could go long on Tech Mahindra with the stop loss below 371 and be very, very patient. It could easily go back to the long-term moving averages, get beaten down, go up, beaten down, go up, beaten down. But eventually, it'll also probably trend up with the rest of the IT pack. MACD positive crossover on the verge of happening. Maybe another 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll be more sure about that, right? So there is another IT stock there, all turning bullish, which is, really interesting. We're talking about all the headwinds on the business side for Indian IT companies, and these are, I mean, it's like what, some reinvention going on. They firing folks left, right, and center, and cost cutting massively is going on. It's been in the news, but is it much bigger than perhaps their understanding? I don't know, but IT clearly bullish. Hindalco metal pack. So another interesting thing about this, Hindalco broke out after consolidating here for, let me see if I can get this. All right, so weekly chart, you can see, consolidation for about a quarter here, and then now breakout that is going on, and no volume. That's the only, bit of a concern. So being a little circumspect about it and not doing anything aggressive. Now it goes up here, daily volumes are good, correction is happening on low volumes, comes to about 210 or maybe even 203. Don't short this, but keep these numbers in mind. If it comes there, there might actually be good opportunities to go long, but little premature. Tata Steel, so similar, this is all like a small double top which is there. Will it correct to about 530 or maybe even lower and then turn back up? Who knows? We'll have to wait and watch. Coal India, I'm wondering whether it's going to, make a new life low. This is the entire chart from about 6 years. If it breaks 240, then 220 and all, and really again nothing um, great on the chart or tech. I mean, there are so many other better chart setups. Uh, Things like Coal India, NTPC, and some others, like maybe even Tata Power or something. These are not charts you should be spending time on analyzing. There's so many other better setups. Coming to pharma, so this is again one big interest surprise. They've all been trending up, so I'm going to go through all the pharma, five of them quickly. You can see Sun Pharma, Marubozu down. You can see Dr. Reddy's massive gap down and a big Marubozu down yesterday. You can see Cipla hanging on for its life and not yet broken down. Lupin, big move down, except that, not except, also good, you know, bullish divergence which is there. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Is it a correction and then it just moves back up? Big volumes, that's a bit of a worry. And then Oro Pharma, which was another one which had done very well actually, really correcting and then comes maybe to 2680 or something and then turns up. Not sure. Okay, so this is perhaps a sort of minor or secondary correction after a big move on the stocks from their bottoms, as you can see, right? And all these stocks have been in downtrends for a few years, actually 1 to 2 years. So 2015 was the peak here for Lupin, turned down. Oro Pharma, right? Sort of massive rounding top, really interesting. Not sure how it's going to pan out. Did it break down, and is the break over now? But again, this is a 15, 16, 2-year pattern. Then Lupin, you can see just like you know, sorry, yeah, Lupin and Cipla also coming down from 750 to 550 over the last 2 years. Dr. Reddy's over last 1.5 years sort of went to 4,500. Now it's approximately half the price at 2,500. And Sun Pharma, which went down with like I think Oro Pharma, 1,200 to 550. What a cut, right? So from a long-term perspective, from a 2-year bearish, clearly bear market on the stocks, is this phase over, not over? Uh, Too early to say, but that is something definitely to consider and keep in mind, because this could be a sector which is now sort of reviving. There was a lot of concerns about, of course, when Trump came, the thing about make in America, etc., and what these companies would do. But well, so yesterday's or latest news, I guess, not latest, but few hours old. So the healthcare repeal, Obama repeal bill, did failed, and we'll have to see what happens, going forward from here. So one of the things that these companies could do is set up, manufacturing in the US, and I'm not sure how it will do for cost, but assuming that the costs are going to be still substantially cheaper than the branded stuff in the US, in spite of being manufactured in the US, these generics, there's still a lot of hope, especially after something like 1,200 stocks become 1,200 rupee stocks become 550 rupee stock, more than 50% cut. I don't know. So from a sector perspective, so not a trading view, that discussion. It's more a sectoral potential turnaround view. Too early, but it really could be happening, right? This is Dr. Reddy's in the weekly format, and had been thinking about a head and shoulder bottom, and you can clearly see that massive washout on that head and shoulder bottom again, with massive volumes, and again no breakout that happened with any conviction. There's no volume in the tentative breakout that could have happened perhaps in the daily chart. So maybe some more pain left, some more sell-offs, maybe this is a knee-jerk reaction, I don't know. But short term, looking bearish. Cipla definitely is one thing that is standing out from strength on strength. So if you have to go long, I would say go long on Cipla with a stop loss around 550, and once it breaks 573, then 600 is a clear possibility. All right, Lupin around 1,050 or maybe 1,000. There could be some support that appears. If that happens, then one could think about going long. If that happens, by the way, it does turn back up, then you have a left shoulder, a big massive head, a sort of erratic right shoulder that could form, and then if and when that breakout happens, you're talking about almost a 180 point up move from about 1,180, and that makes it 1,360. So from the lows of here, you're talking about almost a 30% up move if it pans out in the way we discussed, right? All right, coming towards the last few sectors, Bharti Airtel. So it's amazing, Bharti stock fighting it out, and not really giving up. Again, this is one stock, in spite of Geo, is what I was wanted to say. This is a stock which has been going sideways from 2008, all right, and it's now here. I'm reminded, unfortunately or fortunately, of Reliance. Okay, this is more or less what Reliance did, and except that on the fundamental side, Reliance has a lot of going for it. The Geo rollout, the profits increasing, right? Its ability to be globally competitive, bring costs down, etc. But Bharti, on the other hand, really don't know, how the environment is. There's some talk fundamentally about the government trying to do something to ease the payment pressures, reduce the interest rates on spectrum charges, etc. but still, with the sort of aggressiveness that Reliance Jio is rolling out, a lot of mixed opinions and ifs and buts and all. But again, 440 is the critical multi-year resistance to keep in mind. If 440 gets broken out, which sorry, again, all these things that I've done, and all right. So if 440 gets broken out, then are we seeing it a quick move to 550 or something like that, which could happen. You can't. Markets are like that, which would be a great surprise and a great opportunity to make some good money on it. The question is that going to happen, or are we going to see a return of this stock back to say 375, or maybe even lower to 280? That's the iffy part right now, right? So I would just want to prefer to wait and watch again with the volumes that are happening on the sell-off. That's something else to keep in mind. But overall, I'm thinking that at some point it's going to break out, right? They have also been matching the prices that Reliance Jio has been giving, right? So another plan by Airtel about 290 rupees or something for 84 GB or something like that, and Airtel to Airtel calls free, so whatever, right? So they might just survive, and I think the results came out which were above estimates, but something a little bit below expectation, something like that. I mean, almost blabbering now. There was something about better than expected results, but not up to the estimate or something. Just check, right? So I think that's on the account of which the sell-off happened yesterday. But again, it might come down to around 380, and from there turn back up. Keep a watch on that for 380 rupees on Bharti, right? So not a aggressive. I don't have a short view on Bharti, but um, we till it breaks out of 440 or 280 or the outside the range. Really, nothing much to say or comment. Infratel, so that was a spin-off from Bharti, right? Stock done really well, but not sure where it is right now. No comment on it, so let's move on. L&T, the big brother in capital goods, that seems to be clearly having topped out, right, for now. Uh, Double top at around 1,200 is what it looks like, right? So we'll have to wait and watch and see how that pans out, right? All right. For today, it has definitely sold off. The other thing that happened is that it went ex bonus, right? So all my lines are all over the place. So 1:2, I think. For every two shares, you got one share out of it. Uh, Ex bonus happened some time back. I'm wondering if today's downfall or move down was on account of results or something. Not really sure. 1156 is something to look out at. It's see yesterday sort of gave a hint that it'll break out. Today it's sort of not sure which way it seems to be going. So it has to decide what it wants to do with 1200. Overall, I think I would be tempted to say that it probably move up, but way too early to say. 8 year again, another stock like Reliance Industries just consolidated for about 7-8 years, really not done anything. Right, you're looking at a weekly chart now. At some point there could be a massive government push on infrastructure. There's some talk about liberalizing and opening up defense massively, so this is one thing which is definitely going to benefit from that. From a long term perspective, this is definitely looking good and healthy and all. So one should consider having it at least for the long term, but from a short term trading perspective, it's a tough call. Okay, so this is a clean chart. See how nicely this resistance is there, and that's exactly where it is, and this is all the way from 2009, right? At some point it'll uh, break out. Whether it's now or later, that's really the moot point, right? Nothing that I know of that I can help with on this side or that side. I think we'll have to look for fundamental news to know more, right? So long term bullish, don't sell this, don't short it, but short term trading, uh, 200 level is what you really need to think about, and then take a call from there. Okay.